Get your mother-loving ears on because your big-time radio DJ's got news. PayPal lets you choose how you want to pay for all the stuff. With PayPal, I can pay in-store, pay online, or pay over time. What's that? You want this translated into song? I hope you're sitting down. You can pay your own way. You keep those ears on, you hear? Don't just pay, baby. PayPal.
Learn more at paypal.com.
This episode is brought to you by McAfee.
Swimsuit, passport, phone, with VPN activated.
VPN?
Cell phone service is going to be spotty on vacation, so we'll be using public Wi-Fi.
Sounds sketchy.
Exactly. The networks can leave your personal info, like credit card numbers, exposed to hackers.
McAfee's secure VPN lets you browse and bank safely from wherever, whenever. Learn more at McAfee.com/online protection.
It's creepy and it's unnerving, but at the same time there are parts of it where you think, should I actually be laughing at this? Because I think this is quite funny.
I also enjoy that this film is very much exploring the whole content craze and the need for content. You know, they've had that thing where they've stripped in front of each other, and then you think that she's so brave. Like she's just, she's given as good as she's got, she's stripped off too. Then she goes to the bathroom and she's having that little kind of like power with herself where she's being like, red flag. But oh my God, isn't he amazing content?
Hey everyone, joining Flixwatcher today we have Darren.
Hello.
We have Kat.
Hello.
And Kobe.
Hiya.
And we're going to be talking about Creep 2.
Thank you as always to the mighty people for their mighty tunes, and thanks to Ben for Rockwood Audio for editing this podcast. Please do remember to head over to Spotify and Apple Podcast to give us a 5-star rating and a glowing review, and join the conversation with us on Twitter at FlixWatcherPod, although we don't use Twitter, or go to any other social media platform and we can find us at Flixwatcher.
Hello film fans, welcome to this episode of Flixwatcher Podcast. Our guests today are Darren and Kat. Over to you please, Kat. Say hello to our listeners and tell them a little bit more about who you are and what you do, please.
Hello, my name is Kat Hughes. I am the deputy editor of film website The Hollywood News. I write primarily about horror that's on the festival circuit for them. I've also done some essays for Arrow Video. And when I'm not doing that, I am co-hosting 3 podcasts of varying chaos. Interview the Vampire TV series Deep Dive with my co-host, who is just a little bit fixated on the TV series. Every time I think our episodes are going to be short, they're 3 times longer than I thought they were going to be. And then the most chaotic is Movies with Mummy, which is with my 6-year-old daughter Aurora, where she brings her toys on. We talk about film, TV, whatever she wants for about 10 to 15 minutes, and I kind of try and keep us somewhat on topic and also try and stop her from doxing us. So yes, just lots of plates, not much sleep.
And who are you, sir?
Hi, I'm Darren Gaskell. I write horror film reviews for Love Horror and Warped Perspective. I'm also the co-host of a podcast called The HD Movie Podcast. My other host is Hayley Alice Roberts. We both met at a horror film festival. However, the podcast itself is about movies of any year, any genre, any quality. We'll cover anything. We do cover quite a lot of horror movies, but we cover Hallmark rom-coms, action movies, historical stuff. There's loads and loads of stuff that we'll cover on there.
So how do you choose your films? Because that's an interesting one where you're just literally wide open. Because a lot of podcasts that talk about film, they have like a lane they tend to follow, and ours are films on Netflix that you guys choose, our guests, for example. Other people is just like what's in the cinemas now, but you guys are like, well, kind of whatever.
It is basically like that. I mean, we'll do some mini series, so we'll have an overarching topic. So we've done erotic thrillers this year, we've done summer horror movies. We've done lots and lots of shark movies for the last 4 years. We did Summer of Sharks, so we were doing like 8-10 shark movies every summer.
8 a summer?
Exhausted Shark. Yeah, so we've done like 40 shark movies over the last few years. I think we've exhausted shark content, to be perfectly honest with you, which is why we took a break this summer. But it is basically we sit down and we go, well, like, what do you fancy watching? And we'll suggest, and it's like, either we hadn't seen it or it's something new or we want to revisit it. So It is fairly random quite a lot of the time, but we do try to bring some semblance of order to it. Where we have certain miniseries, so we'll do a movie series that are about werewolves or witches or certain types of comedy. We did a series of movies where somebody in it had to be from the Friends main cast. So we do things like that. So there is method to the madness, but not much method.
For quite a lot of madness. You have brought Creep 2 to us. So first of all, can you tell us why you chose Creep 2? And then I'll give you 60 seconds in which you have to tell us the synopsis.
Okay. Chose Creep 2 partly because I hadn't seen it in quite a long time. Didn't actually realise it was on Netflix, and I was quite pleased it was there. Again, it was a movie that I came to via a horror movie festival, the Celluloid Screams Horror Movie Festival in Sheffield, played the original Creep and then followed it up with the sequel. So I remember watching Creep and its sequel with a festival audience and thinking that the second film was going to be possibly more of the same, but also hoping that it was going to head in a different direction to the first one, which it actually does, because Mark Duplass, I think he gets quite bored if he's going to try and do the same thing over and over again. And this is a bit of a thread in the movie about reinventing yourself.
Okay. Timer starts now.
Okay, so Creep 2 is a movie about a serial killer who lures unsuspecting videographers to their death, generally. And his latest ad lures in a person called Sara, who is filming a web series called Encounters. Encounters is a series about men with specific interests, and it's not going very well. But she's about to ditch the series when she meets Mark Duplass's character, who is called maybe Aaron. He may not be Aaron, but when she gets there, she finds out that she gets a lot more than she bargained for, but also has Aaron met his match.
Nice. So what was it like Creep into Creep 2 in the cinema?
Certainly, it's the sort of movie, it's found footage, and I generally don't have a lot of time for found footage, to be perfectly honest. I didn't mind the original Blair Witch, and some of the other ones are okay, but it's generally 50 minutes of people wandering around the woods, and then a few people get killed in the last act, and then end credits. Whereas Creep brought something a little bit different to the table. It had something a bit more to say about it within the context of a found footage movie. And it was, again, I mean, it's one of those horror movies where it's creepy and it's unnerving, but at the same time, there are parts of it where you think, should I actually be laughing at this? Because I think this is quite funny. And it's the same thing with Creep 2, but just more of that. The first one is unnerving and ends with something utterly awful, the first movie, and they replay it in the second movie. I do remember the first movie, there's a bit where he's sneaking up behind somebody on a bench, and the sneaking up is absolutely ridiculous. It's all very slapstick, and he's kind of holding the axe in a very comic way, and then all of a sudden he hits him with this axe, and I do remember the audience going when he cracks him with it, and then you get to see that played out again as part of the second movie. And I think it's a movie that it's very much trying to do something slightly different with found footage. And I think that some people will find it too talky. Some people will want a little bit more action. Some people will want less interaction between the characters. But at least with Creep 2, it is trying to maybe not wrong foot you, but it's building up to things that sometimes happen, sometimes don't. And it develops the main character much more this time. It gives you an insight into his background. Or does it give you an insight into his background? He might be lying.
Yeah, do you guys, well, I'm going to throw it to you, Kat. Do you think what Aaron's background is true? Any of it true? None of it true?
I think there is a nugget of truth. I think there's a film that's on Shudder called Influencer, which has kind of a similar protagonist in the fact that she tells one of her victims exactly what she's going to do before she does it, but the victim doesn't for a second believe it. And I think that's kind of what he's doing here. I think there is a lot of truth to some of the things that he's saying, but because it's so fantastical in the way that he's delivered and his general demeanour, otherwise it lures the victim into a false sense of security of, oh, he's just being kooky, just being weird, he's just saying this for attention, you know, he's just a lonely man. But I do think that there is probably a lot to what he's saying. It's just the delivery means that he's not taken seriously, which then means that he can get away with what he's doing.
But what about things like, his first kill, for example, or when he first discovered that he was built for killing? Like, was it the band's lead singer? But because he always went quite deep into stories, didn't he? Went quite deep into what he wanted to do, which is similar. He said in Creep 1, he had that same kind of setup, like, this is why I'm doing it for my unborn son. So that was the setup. So that's why I asked the question, because I wasn't sure if what he was telling was the truth, because he really did just think, fuck it, I can't be arsed anymore, or that was just his next story, almost like a dungeon master that he's playing, the role that he's playing for this particular potential victim.
I think in this case, I think he is kind of ready for it to be done, at least initially, but then she challenges him in a way that none of the others have. So I feel that he again feels, I think maybe he sees a kindred spirit to some degree in Sara, so he feels that he can be a bit more honest and a bit more open. And I think a lot of the film is him not necessarily trying to one up her to get rid of her, but it's maybe to bring her into his side of the world almost.
Helen?
Yeah, just say that we've had Creep, the original Creep, on. We were big fans of that. And also I was going to say, in defence of found footage films, I would say the first Paranormal Activity is quite fun. But then for the worst, I would probably say Diary of the Dead is perhaps one of the worst I've ever seen.
Poor old George.
Yeah, that's so bad.
Check out Chronicle.
Yeah, Chronicle's pretty good. Yeah.
Oh, I have seen that one. It's not horror though, is it?
No, it's not horror.
I'm a little bit down on found footage because there's so much of it out there and so much of it is crap that you have to wade through quite a lot of rubbish to get to the gems. But when it's good, it's very, very good. It's just that there's so much stuff out there. It's something that you can make quickly, cheaply with friends. And it does mean that a lot of the time the sort of creative side is chucked to the wall. It's like, right, we can film something very quickly, we can get to 80 minutes, we can have somebody die at the end. And there's so many found footage films that are like that it's nice to see something that steps out of the parameters a little bit.
It could almost be a sort of romantic comedy, I think, with these two. Yeah. I have seen this before. I watched it after I watched Creep because why wouldn't you want some more of this? And I was surprised the way it went. I thought there would perhaps be a bit more of the same. But yeah, it's kind of like Creep, but with added penis, which is probably like the most surprising and shocking thing about the film. Peachfuzz is back. Peachfuzz fans, he's back.
Did you feel Peachfuzz was as menacing this time round? In the first film, the filmmaker's coming across Peachfuzz as he's trying to escape, and suddenly Mark Duplass is there as Peachfuzz. But in this, he's almost like dancing around the house in the daytime. He's like driving with Peachfuzz mask on, and it seemed like Peachfuzz, his impact was a bit reduced, I think.
Yeah, and I think early on, Sara basically said, "Oh, that's not scary." So it's messing with your perception of the first film, because Peachfuzz was terrifying in the first movie. You've got him sort of towering over people in sort of, dimly lit shots. Whereas this, it's kind of making Peachfuzz out to be a little bit of a joke. And it's something like, well, why were people scared of this in the first place? Which is kind of a brave thing to do, where you're taking one of the most terrifying images of the first film and then going, well, that's kind of rubbish though, isn't it? So you've got some character sort of saying, well, yeah, some people might have found that scary, but I don't. It's not undercutting itself, but it's very knowing about what its source is.
When they started, I was surprised there was a Creep 2, because I just knowing that Class Brothers, I feel they're kind of like drawn to doing something interesting. So when I heard there was a Creep 2, I was like, oh, okay, well, it seemed fairly self-contained, that first one. But then I thought, well, if they're going to do it, I think it'll follow a different path. I didn't know where I was going to go. This is my first time watching it, and I really enjoyed the direction, and it's like a head-to-head, wasn't it? It was like a versus match, him and Sara and Aaron, if that were their real names. And I think he was genuinely taken aback by her. Like when he does get his knob out, and then she goes, oh, is it my turn now? And he's like, wait, what? Because you could tell almost that was his attempt to try and unnerve her. I don't know whether he's done that before. Maybe it's part of his playbook. It'd be interesting to know how other people react to it if it was, but I don't think many people went, yeah, is it my turn now? Let's just get on with it. But it was interesting when she did also pull back, like when she thought he really tried to hang himself, and then she's like, now this is fucked. And she tried to scare him as well. She did scare him.
Yeah.
It's really funny, that one.
Yeah, with the sellotape, and yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting watching that in the cinema when she does the scare on him, because basically you're thinking, well, he's creeping around, what's he going to do to her in the shower? And I don't think anybody was expecting her to leap out of nowhere with that. And it got the audience, which is, it's fun. You don't go to horror movie festivals to think, oh, well, I don't want to be scared and I don't want to jump, because you've got that sense of community where if everybody jumps, everybody has a really good laugh about it. It's like part of the thrill of being a horror fan is not to sit there and think, oh yeah, this is disgusting, this is like disturbing, there's people getting chopped up on screen. Part of it is to actually be genuinely scared. Now some people won't understand that, but I think there's something cathartic about it where you'll walk out of a movie thinking, well, I was absolutely terrified in there, but I'm all right now.
I also enjoy that this film is very much exploring the whole content craze and the need for content. They've had that thing where they've stripped in front of each other, and then you think that she's so brave, like she's just, she's given as good as she's got, she's stripped off too. Then she goes to the bathroom and she's having that little kind of like power with herself where she's being like, red flag, red flag, red flag. But oh my God, isn't he amazing content? Like this could be, it's that whole
I
thing.
I might die, but this is great content.
Yeah. And it's obviously that is the industry and society is pushed for. Everybody is filming everything. You see all these atrocities happening in the world and people are just filming them and uploading so they get the hits, they get the likes. And I've not seen the Creep Tapes yet, which is a TV series. Imagine that there's some other videographers that have a similar thing of, this guy is going to make them a fortune. This thing, any little clip of him, whether it be him having a breakdown or, doing a little dance or whatever, he is meme gold. He is going to go viral. And I really like that angle. So in the first one, it wasn't so much pushed forwards, but this is a woman who, she wants to use him as much as he wants to use her.
Yeah, 100%. I like the bit where, I don't know if he was, again, you don't know what's true or not, but him flipping out because the river wasn't as high as he thought it was going to be. And then they decide to film it anyway, and he's there like with his hands waving, and she's like, yeah, that's dumb.
Yeah.
That looks stupid.
Yeah, the fact that he thinks that they're going to put in some sort of effect water because he's got to do the waving of the hands, and it's like, no, we're just going to film this as is. And then they keep getting interrupted, the plane goes over, and then the bird is tweeting, and then he just goes mad. It's like he can't stand the fact that the bird is interrupted his performance. It's kind of fun. I mean, it's on one level, it is ludicrous, but it's kind of knowingly ludicrous. It's winking at you quite a lot of the time, this movie. And it does weirdly talk about artistic decline as well, which I wouldn't have expected in a found footage movie. It's about, do you want to keep repeating yourself over and over and over again? Do you want to be producing the same sort of movie? And he doesn't want to. And it kind of feeds into the movie itself. It's like, do we want to be doing Creep 1 again? No, we don't. This is Creep 2.
Helen?
In Walmart's Hoonuville, everyone ready their cart. Amazing Black Friday deals are about to start. Online and in the app, such great deals to explore. Everything you love from tech, toys, and more. The days to save and the ones to remember. It's only the 25th to the 30th of November. Set your alarms. Don't miss out. These deals are epic, without a doubt. The Who's are all ready, but are you? Walmart Black Friday deals await. Who knew?
We find Vecna, we end this once and for all, together.
On December 25th.
We have a plan. It's a bit insane. Everyone in? He knows where we are.
Watch out! Get ready for one last adventure.
We stay true to ourselves. Stay true to our friends, no matter the cost.
Found you. Stranger Things, Season 5, Volume 2, begins December 25th, only on Netflix.
With new, gentler scented Clorox disinfecting wipes, clean finally smells as good as it feels. On everything from lamps to ceiling fans. Even on your kid's toy shark. Oh, ouch. Clorox disinfecting wipes, now available in crisp lemon. Find it on Amazon. Clorox, clean feels good.
Kraft mac and cheese is the best thing ever. It's even better than pop music. You look just as natural enjoying us at age 13 as you do 55. Kraft mac and cheese, best thing ever.
Yeah, I think also Desiree Akhavan is really, really good as Sara. She absolutely kills it. And like the stares that she gives him and the complete you just don't know what's going on there is brilliant. And when she gets into the jacuzzi with him, and he's a bit like, I'm not sure about this. Yeah, I also love that. He gives her that locket and he's just like, oh yeah, there's a picture of another guy in there.
Yeah, I didn't have a chance to change it.
Yeah. And poor Dave at the start. Dave. Oh.
Yeah.
Too trusting, Dave.
I love that intro because you think, okay, Dave's going to be the next guy. Dave's going to be the next subject of the film. And just like the wink he gives to the little mini Peachfuzz in the box when Dave goes off and it just goes, hey mate, and places on the table. Yeah, it's fun. It's a fun film. Anything else guys want to say before we head to the scores?
My question to everybody is, how quickly would you all have got out of there? Would it have been like seconds?
I think when you're like, she needed the money and she had the skills. So you're kind of like, okay, this is some guy who wants me to film for whatever, fine. But what point would I have got out? Even if you're joking about being a mass murderer, I would have probably gone, yeah, maybe not for me. Anyone who says that, whether it's either true or they're really, really like strange. So off you go, not for me.
I wouldn't have gone like that speed he replied to the text was too quick.
Is there an optimum speed for enticement?
I don't know, too quick.
Back in your dating days, if you'd done on these apps and someone replied to you that quickly, would that have put you off?
Maybe. It's just like, he's obviously waiting for someone to answer his weird ad.
It's £1,000, though.
And that's not much money. Not to go into the middle of nowhere with a film camera to film some weird man doing like, I mean, the stuff that she was doing anyway with those guys.
Yeah.
I would pass. I think.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I think for her, it is legitimised by the fact that you do see those other episodes of Encounters and you do see kind of the slightly peculiar, eccentric people that she's already dealt with. So for her, it makes sense for like, oh yeah, it's just going to be more of the same. I'm just going to have to like sing him a lullaby while he cries on me. But yeah, for me, it's no, I don't really like talking to people. So I wouldn't be going to spend, a weekend or whatever trapped alone with some random man. It's just not for me. Maybe it's as women, maybe we're built different. We're just like, no, thank you. No.
What about yourself? Going back to you, Darren.
I think I'd have been as soon as he answered the door, I think it would have been seconds or minutes. As soon as he started behaving like oddly, pretended I had a phone call or something, or said, I need to go and take this, and then just ran as fast as I possibly could up the road.
Because he didn't answer the doorbell, did he? He was just there making his like weird green like.
Yeah, that's the thing. And again, it's a film full of red flags, and I think he does mention the fact that he could have poisoned the weird green smoothie as well. So at that point, if I'd have got to the smoothie stage, I probably wouldn't have drunk it. And at the point he said, "Oh well, it's poisoned," I'd have gone, "Yeah, is that somebody calling me? Yeah, bye."
Let's get to the scores.
I'm Sam Clements, host of the 90 Minutes or Less Film Festival, another podcast in the Stripped Media family, a podcast that celebrates movies under 90 minutes long. Each episode, I'm joined by a special guest who selects a movie to join our prestigious lineup. Past guests have included fellow Stripped Media family members Martin and Sam from Song by Song, and Kobe from Flixwatcher, and Dave from The Wire Stripped. Search for us now on the app you're currently listening to this podcast, or join us at 90minfilmfest.com.
Welcome to our Flixwatcher scores. The scores are out of 5. You can have decimal places if you wish, and we'll start with you, please, Darren, because you picked it with your recommendability.
Okay, I'm going to go for 4 with recommendability, because I think it's the sort of horror movie that it's not particularly gory, and I don't think there's stuff that people are going to find particularly offensive if they're not horror fans. So I think that people who don't normally like this sort of thing might be drawn in by the humour and the performances. And you don't need to have seen the first one either. So that's got a lot to recommend it. It does touch on the first one, but you don't have to have seen the previous movie to enjoy this one.
Kat.
I think I'm going to go with a 3. I think maybe for horror fans and maybe found footage fans, it would be an easier sell. But I'm thinking of people outside of that. It's a hard one to pitch And I think you have to kind of have some sort of, appreciation for independent film and cinema to take a chance on something that's a bit weird, because it's quite weird. I mean, my mum is very much into this sort of thing, so she would be fine. But my mother-in-law, she's probably not going to have a good time. So I'm going to go with a 3.
Yeah, I was thinking it's more the independent film than the horror vibe, because that's when people just see the old school VHS, whatever it is, camera and the way it's shot. I think that's what will put most people off, because it is, like you say, it's weird rather than scary. Sorry, Helen.
Yeah, I mean, it is super weird. Like, if I hadn't seen Creep and then watched this for the first time, I would be like, what the fuck is this? And have absolutely no idea what's going on. And I don't know whether, because my enjoyment for this is based on my enjoyment of Creep and how they fit together, and potentially how the third one could be if they ever make it, even though they've done the TV thing instead. But I still have hope they might do the third one. So I think if you're going to enjoy this, I do think you probably need to be a bit familiar with the first one. I'm not sure how cold you could go into it and appreciate a lot of the things in it without having had that prior knowledge. So I think you definitely have to have seen the first one and enjoyed it. And yeah, it's probably a little bit harder to recommend than Creep was, just for that. So I'm going to give it a 3.5 for recommendability, even though I do think it's really interesting. It's super weird and as enjoyable as the first one.
Yeah, let's just think about what you said there, Helen. Yeah, let's go for 3.2. I was going to go high, but I think you're right in that I think it's best knowing it's the second part and you've watched the first part before. But if you've watched the first part before, then you're probably already on the way. If you haven't seen it, it's either because you didn't like the first part or you didn't know there's a second part. So it makes it a bit of a conundrum. But I'd want to suggest they watch this one first. Yeah, 3.2. But one thing I'm going to ask is, at the end. So is he alive at the end?
Is he? I mean, my feeling is that he is, because somebody is following around on the subway and he's on the bus. So, and the look that she gives at the end, it's like, oh shit, it's this guy again.
The whistle is his whistle.
Yeah. I like the way it finishes, because it's like, yeah, he might be back, but is it somebody else who's copying him? It's probably him. And without giving too many spoilery bits away, then if you've watched the Creep tapes, then it doesn't really preclude there being a third movie. It's almost a different universe. It's him sort of taking his stick out on the road. There's like lots of different ways that he ingratiates himself into people's lives. It's a really good series as well, because it's only in a half-hour format. So all of this stuff that it takes this movie 80 minutes to get through is all dealt with in 25-30 minutes in each episode, so it crams a lot in. So I can highly recommend Creep tapes for anybody who hasn't seen it.
Okay, repeat viewing score, Darren.
Repeat viewing, I'm going to give it a 3.5, because I think you can go back and watch it to see where it might hint at where it's going. But at the same time, I think that if you're not particularly into this sort of stuff, once is probably enough. Not for me. I mean, I can watch this quite a lot, but I think for anybody else who's seen it and enjoyed it, then there's not a huge amount of surprise if you see it again. You can still appreciate the performances and you can still appreciate some of the twists and a couple of the jokes, but overall, if you're looking for that same level of confusion and excitement and a bit of a buzz, you're not going to get that the second time, because all of that, you know what's coming, which is a bit of a shame, but that's how it's set up.
So it's a 3.5?
3.5.
Kat?
I'm going to go a bit low. I'm going to go with a 2.8. It was the second time I'd seen it, and it has been a couple of years in between viewing, but I don't think if I'd have been sitting down for something like this, I don't necessarily think I would have gone back to it, at least not for a while longer, perhaps if a third film. But outside of that, it's not one that I feel like I need to go in and like delve in. Like, I love a repeat view. I will watch, I can't have lost count of the amount of times I've seen like Aliens and Terminator. It's genuinely in the hundreds of times. So I love a repeat view, but this not quite got that hook for me. So yeah, I'm going to go for 2.8. Did I say? Yeah.
Yeah.
Helen?
Yeah, so I watched this not that long after I first watched Creep, because they were both on Netflix, and why wouldn't you, with them both being there? And I rewatched it again because it'd been quite a while and I wanted a refresher, but had you not picked it, I probably wouldn't have gone back to it. I feel like I got pretty much everything from the first time watch. So, I mean, that says it is only an hour 20. I think it just about is fine with that length because not that much happens with them. And it's quite sort of that one setting. Definitely when they have kind of like the mad chase at the end, it livens up a bit, but it is two people kind of trying to stare each other out. So for repeats, I'm going to give it a 2.7 for repeat.
I don't think you need to. That's just how some films are. I mean, Terminator, I mean, of course you're going to watch those time and time again because they're fucking immense. This is just a really cool film. Not that layered. Once you've seen the story, you're kind of like, well, that's nice. Nice one. Thank you. So I'm going to go 2.5. Small screen score. I think it might get some points. Oh, actually, no. Let's see. 2.5. Darren, small screen score.
Small screen score, I'm going to go 4.5 on small screen because it's perfect for the small screen. This is where it's meant to be seen. The cinema version, it's fine, but because of the setting and because of the claustrophobic elements to it and the fact that it's a contained location, I think this works better on a small screen than it does on a cinema screen. It's fine watching it in the cinema with a bunch of other people, that's great, but it loses nothing when you watch it on a TV. In fact, I think it gains something because there's that kind of slightly hemmed in feeling when you're watching it on a smaller screen.
Kat?
Yeah, I think I echo Darren and say a 4.5. I never saw it in the cinema, but watching it at home was fine. The found footage format is very much made for watching on a laptop, on a TV, on a phone. So it definitely works within that. And also just because there is so much talking and because of the nature of it, just being able to watch it with subtitles on, because Aaron is a little mumbly. So just being able to sit at home and watch it with subtitles and not have to worry about the person next to you, like chomping on their popcorn or nachos. I think it definitely does well at home.
Ellen?
Yeah, as much as I would have loved to have seen them both at the cinema for that audience participation of it and being able just to like look at how other people are reacting, it is very much like a home film watch. So yeah, I'm going to give it a 5 as well.
Give it 5?
Yeah, for small screen.
I'm giving it 4.5 because I think it would have been fun to do the double bill like you did, Darren. Come away in less than one Lord of the Ring and having seen 2 films in that for the price of that. But yeah, that's why it loses the 0.5. Otherwise, like you say, it's found footage. It's like your own homemade videos from the 80s, 90s and noughties before YouTube became a real thing and before video quality became like really, really, really good on your phone. So it works well on the small screen. 4.5. Engagement score. Darren?
Engagement, I was going to go 4, but I'm going to drop it a little bit because I'm going to go 3.8 for engagement because I think most of the time it is quite engaging and the 2 lead performances are really good and believable and you're convinced that there's this back and forth between them. But I think that there are a couple of points in the movie where it felt like it needed to get on with it. I mean, I know it's still only 80 minutes, but there are a couple of moments in the movie where I just thought, yeah, okay, we kind of get where this is going. Can we move it along a little bit? So it's a wee bit lacking in incidents occasionally, but it's still engaging and you do want to know where it's going to end up.
Kat?
I'm going to go with a 3. I agree the performances are great, but when I kind of think back, I only watched this the day before we've recorded, and there's already only like 2 or 3 scenes that have stuck in my head. I think a lot of the rest of it it's entertaining enough as you're watching it, but it doesn't really stick in the brain too much. And although it is different to Creep, you are very familiar with Aaron and what he might be up to. So I think it kind of loses a little bit because of that, although it's not repeating the same thing.
Yeah.
We kind of know what his end game probably going to be. So yeah, it's a 3 for me.
Helen?
Yeah, so I'm not sure like how much of the first one was, but this one feels a bit more maybe improvised in that they probably had less of a script and it was more them just vibing off each other's weirdness to kind of see what kind of reaction you'd get. And maybe that kind of is a little bit telling in that. I'm going to do 3.5 for engagement as well. Just, it's a different kind of beast than Creep 1. And yeah, it is a little bit slower, I think. So yeah, 3.5.
I'd go for 4.1 because I didn't know where it was going to go. And I like the way, like from the start, you think that, like I say, Dave's going to be the guy that we follow and it wasn't. And then engaging with Sarah and Sara being a match for Aaron. It was quite interesting and not sure what was going to happen there. I found it a bit tiring at the end when they were kind of chasing each other back and forth kind of thing. I was like, should we get it over with now? So the fact that you thought that he killed her, I was like, okay, fine. But then she comes out of that to hit him over the head. I was like, yeah. You probably would have killed her properly. So it wasn't for lack of engagement. It was more for like feeling that derision at the end. Where it goes, that's where it loses the 0.9 for the 5. So that gives us an overall score of 3.63125. Do we know what the score is for Creep, Helen?
I have it here. So do you want to guess whether we think Creep 1 was higher or lower than Creep 2 in our scores?
I'm going to go higher just because it was something fresh and it went somewhere slightly scary and grungy at the end. So I'm going to go slightly higher.
Yeah, I think I will too. I think I remember you guys saying that you really enjoyed it. So I'm going to hope that you didn't really, really, really enjoy this one.
So yeah, it scores 4.11 on the Flixwatcher scores. So yeah, a little bit higher than this one.
Wow. Yeah. Good score.
Yeah. I think, again, this lost a lot of points on recommendability, and that's mainly because we said Creep 1 and then this. That's a great combo, but this by itself kind of doesn't make any sense.
And there's always been on Netflix. Like, I've never seen it not on Netflix. So
I've never looked for it. Does it just appear in your feed? Is it just always in your...
Yeah, probably. It's like, do you want to watch it again? It's like, watch it again. Creep. You love Creep. Why didn't you watch it again?
I get annoyed when Netflix like says, you've watched this. Do you want to watch it again? I'm like, no. You know how many things are on my list that I haven't watched with you already? Can you just like stop pushing me to be on here all the time? Yeah, 3.63125. Kat, Darren, can you tell everyone where we can find you guys online? Tell us about your podcasts and say goodbye to the listeners. Let's go with yourself, Kat, first.
I am at Gizmo Shikari on Letterboxd and Instagram, and kathughes.bsky.social on Blue Sky. Links to all of my writing is constantly on there. And the podcast, I will have to plug Movies with Mummy above all else because I live with that co-host, and she will know. She's a very hard taskmaster, and we are currently working on short film together, so she is hoping to submit that to Fright Fest 2026. So
what?
Yeah, she's very driven.
Is there a minimum age for submissions to Fright Fest?
No, they had a French director a number of years ago. He was 13 when he submitted his first film. The great thing about Fright Fest, though, is that everything that screens there has a blanket 18 certificate. So whilst he had made the film...
He could submit there, but he can't go.
He could go and introduce the film, and then he had to leave when the film was screened. Then he'd come back in for the Q&A afterwards. So that would be what Aurora would do if we got chosen for the short film selection. Yes, that is still in the works. It's a project that's in the holidays. But keep your eyes peeled on the socials for that.
That's hilarious. So, you made this film, but you can't watch it with us now, but you've made it and edited and cut it and wrote the script. But right now you can't watch it.
Yeah. Legally.
Yeah, legally. That's the thing, isn't it? It's the legally. Darren.
Yeah, I will happily review Aurora's film when it's completed. I've got
better give her 5 stars because she will get you.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, yeah. Well, I think it'll be good anyway, so I don't need to be generous about it. So, as for me, I'm on Blue Sky at darrengaskell.bsky.social. I'm on Instagram at Darren_Gaskell. That is also my handle on Twitter, although you won't get me on Twitter, X, whatever they're calling it this week. So it's probably best to get me on Instagram or Blue Sky. The HD Movie Podcast, if you search for that on all the usual podcast platforms, you'll find it. So if you want to wade through 3 dozen shark movies, that's the place to go.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys. It's been a pleasure talking about Creep 2.
Thank
you very much.
Bye.
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 Enjoyed this episode of Flixwatcher podcast? Why not leave us a 5-star review on iTunes? You can also follow us at FlixWatcherPod on Twitter, and we're at FlixWatcher on Instagram. Thanks as always to the mighty people for their mighty, mighty tunes, and Rockwood Audio's editing skills. If you're looking to get your podcast edited as sweet as this, get in touch with Rockwood, ROKK Wood Audio. Tell them Flixwatcher sent you.
You just heard a Stripped Media production.